We're going to continue on page 30a. We're up to the piece of the Gemara Berevis, what you read in the fourth week. Now, the way the Gemara puts it in here, it makes it very complicated. We'll see. There is a Rashi we're going to do today in Mitzvah Shem. It's a huge, huge Rashi. And I don't know why it needs to be so complicated. It shouldn't really be that complicated, because today we use a very simple method. We have here four portions, okay, that we're reading, the four portions, the four parshias. So you have Shkolim, Zocher, Torah, and HaChodesh. Those are the four portions. And the basic rule that we use today is that the Parshas Shkolim is either on Rosh Chodesh Adar or the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar. If Rosh Chodesh Adar is in the weekday, we will do the Parshas Shkolim. That's rule number one. Rule number two, that the week that Purim falls in, and Purim could never be on a Shabbos according to the schedule. So whenever Purim comes in, the Shabbos before, we do Zocher, do the second of the Parsha. And then on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, if it comes on Shabbos, we do HaChodesh, that's the last one. Or we do HaChodesh on the Shabbos that precedes Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And the Parshas Parah always comes before the Parshas HaChodesh. So it's really straightforward. But the Gemara and the Braisa bring it down in very long words. I actually made a chart just to help with the long Rashi that we're going to study. But let's start inside first, and then we'll progress as we go on. First, the Mishnah. We're quoting the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that Berevis, on the fourth Shabbos, that you lane one of these portions, on the fourth one. So over there, you do the portion of HaChodesh. Shmois Yud Beis, you do the portion of HaChodesh. Okay. Zog di Gemara Tonu Rabbanan. We learned in Abraisa. Rashi right away tells you that Braisa Zu, this Braisa that we're discussing now, Mufureshes Lamailo Bisirugin. This price has already been explained. Earlier, it was explained, but over there, we explained it that you're not going to read the four portions consecutively. It's not like the week one, you read Parsha 1, week 2, you read Parsha 2, but you do jump over. It's read bisirugin, that's called jumping over. Exactly how you jump over, which means it doesn't follow. You don't read the four portions one after the other, but you interrupt with a Shabbos. And which Shabbos exactly do you interrupt? So Rashi says, Lerav kidi islay, ulishmuel kidi islay. Rav the way his opinion, and Shmuel the way his opinion. The Rav and Shmuel differed earlier. What is the din when it comes out on Erev Shabbos? We're having all these cases, like when Rosh Chodesh Adar comes during the week, we read in the Shabbos beforehand. What happens when Rosh Chodesh comes out on Friday? Over there we had a disagreement between Rav and Shmuel, whether you proceed it to the Shabbos beforehand or you do it Shabbos afterwards. The Friday caused us a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. So when Rosh Chodesh Adar comes on Friday, when Purim comes on Friday, when Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes on Friday, what do we do then? Do we go back or we go further? And it depends on what we do, which of the Shabbos we're going to skip, as we're going to articulate later on. Rashi just tells you that this Braisa was discussed earlier, and we interpreted the Braisa both according to Rav and according to Shmuel, each one the way they hold. Basically, Rav holds that you always go to the Shabbos before, even if it comes out on Friday, and Shmuel holds if it comes out on Friday, you go to the next Shabbos. Let's look at the Braisa itself now. So what do we do in the Braisa? So first the Braisa says, Rosh Chodesh Adar Shechol Liyos b'Shabbos. When Rosh Chodesh Adar falls on Shabbos. So then you're going to read Shkolim on that Shabbos. Koirin Kisisa. You read Kisisa because to us, Kisisa is the Parshas Shkolim. Umaftirin Yehoyada, and the Haftorah is Yehoyada, which is the Haftorah for Parshas Shkolim. The Eizuhi Shabbos Rishona. Which Shabbos is considered the one that you read the first of the portion? Kol Shelchal Rosh Chodesh Adar Liyos b'Soicha. The Shabbos, any Shabbos that Rosh Chodesh Adar comes in during that week, we will read on the Shabbos before. We're going to read the Parshas Shkolim. Va'afilu be'erev Shabbos, even if Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Erev Shabbos, is on Friday, we're going to move it up to the Shabbos beforehand. That's the way we interpreted before, according to Rav. According to Shmuel, he touched it that if it comes out in Erev Shabbos, as the Gemara explained, I don't want to go through the whole explanation again, you're going to read it on Shabbos, not on the previous Shabbos. You're going to make it the next Shabbos. And he says, Kol Shechal Rosh Chodesh Adar Liyos b'Soicha, means if it comes on Shabbos itself, and then even in Erev Shabbos, we'll also read it in the next Shabbos. That's how we explained it before. The Gemara brought this down. Then Bishniya. What's the second Shabbos? The second Shabbos of the Parsha, we read the portion of Zocher. That's the Parsha Zocher. Umaftirin, and the Haftorah is a Shmuel Aleph. In Perik Tezvav, we do the Haftorah of Pakadati. Pakadati is also the Haftorah of Parsha Zocher. The Eizuhi Shabbos Shniya. So which is the second Shabbos? Kol Shechal Purim Liyos b'Soicha. Any week that Purim is in that week, we're going to read it on the Shabbos beforehand. Afilu Erev Shabbos. Even if Purim comes on Erev Shabbos, we are still going to Lane the week before. That's the opinion of Rav. And then Shmuel disagrees. He says that if it comes on Erev Shabbos, we're going to lane it over here. Actually, he said disagrees. We're going to lane it on Shabbos. Let's just double check before the Gemara brought this down. So the Kol Shechal Erev Shabbos. So Shmuel Ba. So Shmuel disagrees here too, and he says that if it comes out, you're going to read it after. You're going to read it if the Purim comes out on Friday. The Parsha Zohar is not going to be read in the Parsha before, but you're going to read it in the next, you're going to read it the following Shabbos. Bishlishis, what is the third Parsha we read? We read Porah Aduma. That's the Parsha's Porah. And the Haftorah is, the Haftorah for Parsha's Porah is Yechezkel Amud Vov, V'zorakti Alecha. Ve'ezuhu Shabbos Shlishis, which is the third Shabbos? Kol Shesmucha Lepurim Acharel. The one that is close to Purim, that follows Purim. Again, in just a minute, I'll show you the chart, and I think it'll clarify a lot of things. Boravis, the fourth one, is Achodesh Hazeh, Umaftirin, that the portion is Achodesh, Umaftirin, the Haftorah is Yechezkel Memhei, Ka'omar Hashem Elokim Barishain, Ve'echod Achodesh. And when do we read that? So the Gemara, the Ezu Shabbos Revis. What is the seventh Shabbos? Kol Shechal Rosh Chodesh Nisan Liyos Betoicha V'afilu B'erev Shabbos. Everything that Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes in it, even on Erev Shabbos. For some reason, this is an older version that I worked on. This is not here. Hold on one second. Because I further wrote down, for some reason, this is not the right, I made a chart over here, a reference to a chart, but this must be, I saved an early. Let me see if I have it. Give me a second. Let me go to history. History. This is what? This is, the clock is wrong over here, so this doesn't have 220. Let me try to 220. Let's see here. Yep, this is it. I got to go back to this one. Okay. Okay, so this, how do I go back there? Let's see. What's going on here? All right. So here, let's see. Okay, so Ve'ezu Hishabbos, let's continue. Ve'ezu Hishabbos Revi'is, Kol Shechal Rosh Chodesh Nisan Liyos B'toicha, V'afilu B'erev Shabbos. The fourth Shabbos is always, when Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes in it, that's when we're going to do the Parshas HaChodesh. Even if Rosh Chodesh Nisan Erev Shabbos, we're still going to do the Shabbos before, according to Rav, and according to Shmuel, we're going to do it on the next Shabbos. Okay. I want you to take a look for a minute in the table that I made over here to try to make this easier. You see the table that I have over here? Let me explain to you what the table is. You see the table on this screen? Hello?
Yes, we see it.
See it. Look on the right corner. You see the Hebrew letters? Zayin, Tes, Vov. Zayin, the first letter, stands for when Rosh Chodesh Adar comes out. The first letter, Zayin, stands for Shabbos. Zayin means when Rosh Chodesh Adar comes on Shabbos. Tezvov stands for that's when we take a break reading the Shabbos. So look in the chart. Look on Saturday. Look on Saturday. Aleph Adar is Rosh Chodesh. So you're going to read Shkolim on Aleph. Ches Adar, you're going to read Zocher, because Purim is going to be on Friday. On that Shabbos, you're not going to read anything. And Chav Gimel Adar, you're going to read Torah. And Aleph Nisan, you're going to do HaChodesh. So basically, if Rosh Chodesh is on Saturday, is on Zayin, then the Hefsek is Tezvav. If you go down, the next chart, if Rosh Chodesh is on Beis, that means it's on Monday, then the Shabbos that we have empty is Vav, is Friday. Look over here. So Rosh Chodesh is on Monday. So 2 days before it's Shvat is Shkolim, and Vav Adar is empty, and Yud Gimel Adar is Zocher, because Purim is going to be on Sunday. And Chaf Adar is going to be Parah, and Chav Zayin Adar is going to be a Chodesh. So you see, the blank one is going to be Vav. So if Rosh Chodesh is on Monday, the empty one, the one that we skip, is on the 6th of the month. Further down, if it's Daled, if it's on Wednesday, Rosh Chodesh, so then the empty one is going to be Daled Adar, because on Chavav Shvat you're going to reach Kolim. Daled is going to be empty, and Yud Aleph Adar is going to be Zocher. Yud Ches is going to be Parah, and Chav Hei is going to be HaChodesh. And finally, if it comes out on Friday, you have two empty ones. You have the 2nd of the month and the 16th, Yudvav, Beis and Yudvav. Because if it's on Friday, then you're going to reach Kolim on the 24th of Shvat. Other Beis Adar is going to be empty. Tes Adar is going to be Zocher. Purim is going to be on Tuesday. And Tes Zayin Adar is empty again. That's Yudvav. Of Gimel Adar is Parah. And Aleph Nisan is HaChodesh. I'm not sure if it makes sense to you guys, but that's the way it comes out. Let's do the Rashi now inside. It's a difficult, long Rashi, but Rashi is basically telling you, as I show you on the chart, that it depends how it comes out in order to teach you the reading. Let's just go through it and we'll see what Rashi says over here. So let's look at Rashi. Ve'ezu hi Shabbos revi is chulo, va'afilu be'erev Shabbos. So in all the cases, as we said before, I think I made an error when I was saying the Gemara, but Rashi says, in all the cases when it says afilu be'erev Shabbos, even on Friday, according to Shmuel, it meant the next Shabbos, that you delay and not the earlier. And Rashi tells you, V'ho moide Shmuel. this case in the Raisa by Shabbos Revi'is, when it says Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes out in it, even by Erev Shabbos, what it means over here, so he says what it means over here, it means that you're going to do it the Shabbos before. Everywhere else, we said before that you're going to do it in the Shabbos that follows. But in our case, that Shmuel always said that you're going to delay it and you're going to put it on the next week. But over here, Shmuel will agree. I don't know why it's making me these problems here. I'm on my laptop and that's not giving me an easy time. Let's see if we have it over here. All right. So again, we're going to go back. Beho Moida Shmuel. Over here, Shmuel agrees the Erev Shabbos. Let me make this a little bit. I don't know. Can you read? Beho Moida Shmuel. The Erev Shabbos, the Dumya de Toicha. That when it says even by Erev Shabbos, it's the same as when it comes out in middle of the week. Shecharosh Chodesh Nisan Liyus Betoicha Umagdimim, and you do it to the Shabbos before. Even though every time when it says Erev Shabbos, Shmuel holds, it means the next Shabbos. But in this case, when the Braisa talks about the fourth Shabbos, and it says that when Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes in that week, even if Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes on Erev Shabbos, we will lane in the Shabbos before, not the Shabbos after. Shmuel agrees here. Why? The Efsher Ma'achrim. The Amrit Ma'achrim. For if you say that we're going to delay, if you're going to delay, like Shmuel says, Kodmo Asiya Lishmiya, then you will be making the doing before hearing it, which means you have to listen to the portion of Rosh Chodesh before Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes around. If you're going to make the Erev Shabbos, if you're going to teach, if Shmuel is going to say that you do it on the next Shabbos, it turned out that Rosh Chodesh was before we read the Parshas HaChodesh. And we don't want Rosh Chodesh Nisan to be before we read in the Torah about Rosh Chodesh Nisan. But the bottom line, Rashi is going to go now and say, what do we do? Rashi goes through our tradition, like I wrote down before in the chart. We conduct ourselves in all cases like Rav, which means we always do the Shabbos before. There's an exception. Chutz mepurim shechal liyos b'Shabbos atzma, with the exception of the case of the Braisa, that Purim comes on Shabbos itself. So over there we actually had a machloikis whether we're going to read Tu Amiroim, whether according to Rav we're still going to read it in the Shabbos before. But in that case, it doesn't matter. Why? That could never happen. Why? The Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That could never happen. Why? Because the Dahu lo ikli klal. That It could never happen that Purim to fall on Shabbos. We know that. And Rashi explains why is it made in such a way. The im came because if Purim is on Shabbos, Havirish Chodesh Adar Be'echad B'Shabbos, then the first day of Adar comes on Sunday, because Purim is the 14th day. Purim is the 14th day. So the 14th day of the month of Adar. The 14th day is always the day before you start. So let's say if you start from Sunday, what will be the 14th day? That'll be Shabbos. The 15th day starts the cycle again. You got 7 days, plus 7 days is 14. The 7th is the cycle of the week. The 7th is the last day, the day before the one you started to count from. So if Purim is on Sunday, that means that Rosh Chodesh, if Purim is on Monday, that means that Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Sunday, because Rosh Chodesh is 14 days before, so it's on Sunday. If Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Sunday, then that means that Rosh Chodesh Nisan has to be on Monday. Rosh Chodesh Nisan b'Sheni b'Shabbos. Why? Because there is Shari Adar L'Olam Chaser. Adar will always have 29 days. It's always a Chaser. It has 29 days. The Imkain. So in that case, Havilei Pesach b'Sheni b'Shabbos. Pesach is always the same day that Rosh Chodesh Nisan is. It's 15 days later. The 15th day returns the cycle. 29 days after 29 days after Sunday is what? 28 days. 4 times 7 is 28, right? The 29th day begins the cycle again, the day of the week. So the 29th day will be the same day of the week as 29 days ago. So since Rosh Chodesh Nisan is the 30th day after Rosh Chodesh Adar, because Rosh Chodesh Adar is always 29 days, so you have from Aleph Adar, from the first day of Adar till the end of the month of Adar is 29 days. So the turn of the month, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, is the 30th day. The 30th day is 1 day after Sunday. So of this whole drasha, what do we know? That means if Purim, we're saying it only, but if Purim is on Shabbos, then the Rosh Chodesh Adar has to be on Sunday. Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Sunday, then Rosh Chodesh Nisan is on Monday, and Pesach is on Monday. And we have a problem. We can't have Pesach on Monday. The Kaimalon, and we have a tradition, the Loi, Padu Pesach. Pesach cannot be a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Loilon. So, therefore, basically, we're not, this case that the Braisa quoted, that Purim comes on Shabbos, is not a practical possibility, because Purim cannot come out on Shabbos. He just says in a very long way, if Purim came out on Shabbos, then that would mean that Pesach came out on Monday, will come out on Monday. Pesach cannot come out on Monday. There's a rule that Pesach cannot come out on Monday. And therefore, Purim cannot be on Shabbos. So in the Braisa before that it says that Purim comes out on Shabbos, we can't do like Rebbe against, like Rav against Shmuel, because it's just not a possibility. It never happens. It never happens that Purim should be on Shabbos. So now, the Yomim Haruin Likvius Rish Chodesh Adar. So what are the days that is possible to set Rish Chodesh Adar? It can either be on Zion, which is Shabbos, the 7th. It can either be on Beis, which is Monday. It can either be on Dalet, which is on Wednesday, or it could be on Vav, it could be on Friday. These are the 4 days that Rosh Chodesh Adar can be, because if not, you're going to be a problem with the Badu Pesach. They have to be only one of these 4 dates. The Simen Masoides Hafsokas Parshas Kach. I'll give you a sign by the tradition when you interrupt with a parsha is as follows. Again, Zion, if it comes on Saturday, that's 7, then the interruption would be on the 15th of the month, Tezvov. If Rosh Chodesh comes on Beis, on Monday, then the interruption will be on Vov, will be on Friday. If Rosh Chodesh comes on Dalet, which is the 4th of the month, then the interruption will be on the 5th of the month, will be on Hay. If it's Vov, if it comes out on the 6th day of the week, on Friday, then there will be 2 interruptions. One on the 2nd and one on the 16th. Now, he explains to you everything. Rashi says, it's one of the longest Rashis we have. Zeu, or maybe the longest. Zeu Pirush Zatu. This is the interpretation why, when it comes on Thursday, on Shabbos, then the interruption will be on the 15th. He explains. Im bo Rosh Chodesh Adar b'Shabbos, so that if Rosh Chodesh Adar comes on Shabbos, Yeh loch hafsokas parsha, then the interruption of the parsha will be Yom Chamisha also v'lo yoser. It will be one Shabbos you'll interrupt. It will be on the 15th. Matter of fact, in all these cases, besides this one case, when it comes out on Friday, we're going to have 2 interruptions. But other than that, it's always going to be only 1 interruption. And he explains to you. Explains, Sharei b'yoyim Rosh Chodesh koydim Parshas Kolim. On Rosh Chodesh itself, you read Parshas Kolim. That's Rosh Chodesh Adar. L'Shabbos haba, and the following Shabbos, you're going to be reading Parshas Zocher. There's no interruption. Why? Kedetanya bebraisa. Ezohu Shabbos Shnia. When do we read the second one? Kol shechal Purim liyos betoicha. Vafilu be'erev Shabbos. So that means that if the week of Purim, so if Rosh Chodesh Adar was on Shabbos, even if it comes out on Friday, it's going to be read on the Shabbos that precedes Purim. And this is not only in the Brayso, Masnisi Namitnan. Also in the Mishnah it says, B'Shniya Zocher, the second week, we read the portion of Zocher. V'hainu Kirav, and this goes, we following the opinion of Rav, the Omar Purim Shechal Liyus Be'erev Shabbos Magdimin. This would be, Purim would be then on Friday. And we would go, like Rav says, we'd read the Shabbos before. If Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Shabbos, so 13 days later is Friday. Again, the 15th, the cycle starts again. Rosh Chodesh Adar is on Shabbos. So when you come to the 13th, when you come to the 14th, I'm sorry, it's going to be Friday because Shabbos is going to be the 15th. If Aleph was Shabbos, then the 15th will be Shabbos. So the 14th, which is Purim, is Friday. And according to Rav, we go to the Shabbos before. Ba'achshav Yochel Purim be'erev Shabbos. So now Purim comes on Erev Shabbos. V'onu makdimim kirav. And we do it earlier like Rab said. But what happens? Avol the Shabbos Shlishi Shel Oder. But for the third Shabbos of Oder, Shu Yom Tezvav L'Chodesh, that's the 15th of the month, that is Mafsikim. Then we're not going to read anything on the 15th of the month. And Ubishabbos Revis, and on the fourth Shabbos of the month, so the first Shabbos we read Shkolim, the second Shabbos we read Zocher, the third Shabbos we didn't read anything, and the fourth Shabbos of the month, that is close to Purim of the round Me'achareim, because Shabbos came on the 15th. You didn't read anything on the 15th of the four parshas, but that comes close to Purim of Mukaf Machareim, because that's what the Braisa said, Koidim Porah Aduma. That's when you're going to read the Porah Aduma, the parshas Porah. The Tanya, the Braisa, because we learned in the Braisa, the Tanya Bebraisa, Ezu Shabbos of Parshas Porah, the Shabbos of Parshas Porah, Kolshas Smucha, the Purim Ma'achreo, that if it's close to Purim, behind Purim, Purim of Mukafim was on Tazvov, who Kimno, and the Gemara interpreted that what is the case that you're going to read this Purim Ma'achreo, Eichi Dechal Rosh Chodesh Nisan, B'choil, that is where Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes in the weekday, V'harei yochel b'echel b'Shabbos, shu choil. So that is going to come out on Sunday, which is choil. U'parshas hachodesh koirim b'Shabbos la'achreo. And the Parshat Chodesh, we read the Shabbat the following. Now, there's this one thing that bothers me a little bit, besides the fact that the computer is acting up, it's not giving me properly the words that I need when I'm saying it. But what bothers me with the Braisa and the way they say it over here, they say the Shabbos that follows Purim, and the way the Gemara interpreted earlier, they should have just said the Shabbos before HaChodesh, you read the Parshas Porah. That would be the short way of saying it. But that's basically what he's saying. But in any event, this is the explanation. Hariloch Pirush Zatu. This explains that when it's Zayin, when it's on a Saturday, when it's on Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, then Tezvov is going to be the one that you're going to interrupt. What is Pirush Beis Vav, boy? That's the next siman. Is in Rosh Chodesh Adar b'Sheni b'Shabbos. If Rosh Chodesh Adar turns out on Monday, then it's going to be on Vav. It's going to Tehei Hafsaka b'Shabbos Shalach Rosh Chodesh. Then the interruption will be the Shabbos that follows Rosh Chodesh. Shu Yom Shisha Adar. That will be on the 6th day of Adar. Shaharei Hagdomas Parshas Kolim. The Shabbos Shavra, because you did the Parshas Kolim in the previous Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Kidetnan, like the Mishnah said, that Chal Liyo is b'toich HaShabbos, that if the Rosh Chodesh comes in the middle of the week, Magdimim L'Sha'avar, you always read to the previous week, Umafsikim L'Shabbos Haba, and we interrupt the next Shabbos. That's going to be Vav. And now, Veshuv Ein Lo Chavsoka Behem. Now there's going to be no further interruption. Shari Shabbos Shalachareo, the following Shabbos, Nikras Parshas Zocher. We'll read the Parshas Zocher, B'Uyim Gimel Chodesh. That's going to be on the 13th of the month. Upurim L'Yemocher, Purim is going to be on Sunday. The Shabbos Shalachareo, and the following Shabbos is going to be Parshas Porah Aduma. She's Muchamachareo. That's going to be close to Purim after it. The Shabbos Shalachareo, Yom Chov Zayin L'Chodesh, and the Shabbos that follows, which is the 27th of the month, Koyrim Parshas HaChodesh, then you're going to read the portion of HaChodesh, She's Smuchal Rosh Chodesh, that comes right before Rosh Chodesh. Bareloch Pirush Boy, that means boy, the Beis Vav. I'll go back to in a minute, I'll go back to the chart. You'll see everything that Rashi says over there. Pirush Daled Daled. What is the Pirush Daled Daled? Daled means when it comes, if it comes on Wednesday, Daled, then the interruption is going to be on Wednesday. In Boy Rosh Chodesh Oder B'Daled B'Shabbos. If Rosh Chodesh Oder comes on Wednesday, then Heiloch Hafsoka B'Daled L'Chodesh. Then the Shabbos that you interrupt will be the 4th of the month, which is the Shabbos Shalachar Rosh Chodesh. That's the Shabbos that follows Rosh Chodesh. Then you'll make an interruption because you're not going to read Parshas Zohar then. Shar Hagdomas Parshas Shkolim B'Shabbos Lefnei Rosh Chodesh Hari Gedamto, because you already read the Parshas Shkolim B'Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh Oder. Kol Atam Kitam Pirushei Shel Boy. Over here, the same explanation that we explained by Boy. Over here, the interruption is going to be on Wednesday. There's no other interruption. Pirush, this explains Dalet, that if there is Wednesday, the interruption is on Wednesday. Okay. Now, if you want to just trust Rashi, you don't have to go through all these things. Rashi is just telling you, very simple. If Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh is Shabbos, then the interruption is the 15th. If the Rosh Chodesh is on Monday, then the interruption is Friday. Is the 6th. If Rosh Chodesh is on Monday, then the interruption is on the 6th of the month. If the Rosh Chodesh is on Wednesday, then the interruption is on the 4th of the month. Finally, what does it mean to be Yud Vav? Im Bo Rosh Chodesh, if Vav, Rosh Chodesh comes on Friday, so then Yeheloch Hafsoka Achas, then you have 2 interruptions. Yeheloch Hafsoka Achas Liyom Mochor. So then you have interruption on the day that follows Rosh Chodesh, which is the next day after Rosh Chodesh. Shehu Sheni LaChodesh. That's the 2nd day of the month. V'hashniya, and the second parsha will be B'yoim Shisha Osir. The second interruption will be on the 16th of the month. Harishayna B'yoim Machar, the first one will be in the next day. Tanya, like it says, Chali is b'toich Shabbos. If it comes Magdima l'shovar, Mafsikin l'Shabbos Sheni. The Svidlon Kirav, the Omer, Erev Shabbos, the Emtzer Shabbos, Magdim l'shovar. That Erev Shabbos is just like the middle of the week, and we go to the week before. Mafsikin l'Shabbos Haba. Everything like we said before, we go, so we have the interruption of the next Shabbos. Uparsha Zocher b'Shabbos Shalachareo. After the interruption, we'll do the Zocher. Shu Yom Tisha LaChodesh. That will be on the 9th of the month. V'hi Smucha, and that is close to Purim. That is right before Purim. U'b'Shabbos Shalacha Purim Shu Shisha Osa LaChodesh. We have another interruption. Yafsik Pam Shniya. He makes interruption a second time. V'Alfa Pisha Smucha Machareo. Even though it's closed after Purim, we still will not read the Paraduma, even though it's after Purim. Then when Rosh Chodesh Nisan comes on Shabbos, you're going to read the Chodesh Nisan. Like I said, he should have just said this rule, and that would have solved us a lot of writing with it. Parshas HaChodesh b'Shabbos shel Rosh Chodesh, Parsha Poro b'Shabbos shel Lefaneho. That will be the Shabbos v'Yom Chav Gimel l'Chodesh, and there'll be the 2 interruptions. Derech Kitzora, the short way, Siman, you make Vis Rosh Chodesh. What is the Rosh Chodesh can come out, Rosh Chodesh Oder, either on Zayin, on Shabbos, on Monday, Beis, on Daled, on Wednesday, and on Friday. The Siman and Hafsokos, and what is the Siman for the interruptions? If it comes out on Shabbos, Rashi is repeating himself again. Briefly, it's going to be on the 15th. It's going to come Rosh Chodesh on Monday. The interruption is going to be on the 6th of the month. If it's going to come on Wednesday, the interruption is going to be on the 4th of the month. If it's going to come on Friday, it's going to be two interruptions. One's on the 2nd of the month, and one on the 6th of the month. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Shabbos. But if it comes on Rosh Chodesh Oder on Shabbos, the Yom Zayin, Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder the Shabbos, again, so if it's Chal, so he explains it again. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Shabbos. So then the Yom, 1 second. The Yom Zayin, Hafsokah b'Tezvov, Osor b'Tezvov. Osor l'Chodesh v'lo Yosef. Hold on a second. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Shabbos. The Yom Zayin. Okay. Oh, that's an interpretation. It's not Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder on Shabbos on the 7th, which is the 7th day. That's Zayin. That means Zatu, Zayin. Hafsokah b'Tezvav Osor l'Chodesh. Lo Yosef. You have only one interruption, Tezvav. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Yom Beis. Then Hafsokah b'Chavav l'Chodesh Lo Yosef. Only one. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Yom Daled. On Wednesday, Hafsokah b'Yom Daled. On the 4th of the month, Lo Yosef. Chal Rosh Chodesh Oder b'Yom Shishi. If it's on Friday, Hafsokah b'Yom Beis l'Chodesh b'Yom Vav l'Chodesh with two interruptions. I want to show you one more time. Everything what Rashi says is over here in this table that I showed you in the beginning. If you look in the table, this is Zayin Tezvov. Anybody looking? Anybody with me? No.
Yes.
All right, let's go. Let's continue further over here in the Gemara. Let's finish up to the Mishnah over here. It's a long discussion over here. Now the Chamishis. After we finish the 4 portions, Chozrim Likisidron, we go back to the regular order. So what happened during the 4 parshas? Frag the Gemara l'seider mai. What are we doing now? What kind of an order are we going back? So the question is, during these 4 portions, did we only read these 4 portions, or we read these 4 portions and we read the regular parsha? So to what order do we go back? So Rabbi Ami Omar l'seider parsha suchozim. That you're going to go back. In other words, during these 4 portions, all what you read the 4 portions, and you didn't read the regular Torah portion. So Rashi l'seider parshiyos, shebeshaboses halolu, ifsiku seider parshiyos. These Shabboses you stopped, you ordered the parshiyos, v'lo koru ella arba parshiyos halolu, and they only read these 4 parshiyos. So after you finish the 4 parshiyos, you go back to reading the regular Torah. So according to that opinion of Rabbi Ami, during the 4 special portions that we read, we only read them and we didn't read the Torah, regular Torah portion. Rabbi Yirmiyah Omar says no. The Seder Haftorah Suchayzer. He goes back to the order of Torah to read the Haftorah from the regular Parshas Shavua versus the Haftorah of these special portions. But the Torah reading you never interrupted. He says the Seder Haftorah Suchayzer. Sha'ad Heino, for if up till now, Maftirim Mein Arba Parshias Halolu Hashnuyas Lil Bebraisa. Till now, you said the Haftorah from these 4 portions that you read, that we learned the Braisa. And now we go back to the Haftorah from the regular Torah reading. But it's not like we interrupted the Torah reading. Amar Abaye says, Abaye Kavosid Rabami Mistavra. It makes sense, like Rabami said, that during this 4 portions, we only read these 4 portions. Because the Tanan, because in the Mishnah it says, L'kol mafsikin, we interrupt for everything. So, we interrupt the Rosh Chodoshim for Rosh Chodesh, for Chanukah, for Purim. When Chanukah, Purim, we stop, we interrupt. Litanias for the fast day, Ulama Modis. That's when they stood there for the prayers, for that they would get together for the Korbanos, Mamon Uyema Kippurim, for Yom Kippur. So what does it mean, interrupt over here? What does it mean, interrupt over here? So, if Bishloima Lamanda Omar, let's say the Parshas Hu Chayzer, so we understand, according to the opinion that says that you go back to the portions of the Parshias, which means that you interrupted Hainu the Ika Parsha Bechoil, because when you're interrupting, because during the weekday you read from the Torah. But when we talk, for example, Rosh Chodesh, we talk Chanukah, we talk Purim, there's no Torah there. So if interruption means you interrupt the Haftorah, how could you be interrupting Haftorah for Rosh Chodesh when there's no Rosh Chodesh? So it makes sense, according to the man Omar, that you interrupted the Parshas, because during the week there's a Parshas. So he brings down the tiny Sulamam Modis. These can never be on Shabbos, so there's never a Haftorah there. O Katorni Mafsikin. There's no Haftorah. So what are you Mafsikin? So Elaman said Haftorah Suchayzer, and you interrupted Haftorah. There's no Haftorah. So what is the other? How's he going to answer it? How does Rabbi Yirmiyah going to answer this question? The Gemara says, "Hokedi Isa v'Hokedi Isa." In each case, we interrupt what you do over there. So he says that in the weekday you're interrupting the weekday parsha, but on the Shabbos, where there is a Haftorah, then you interrupt the Haftorahs, and then you read the Haftorah, Ein HaMe'ura, from what happened, and then you go back to the Haftorah, but you don't interrupt the Kriyas HaTorah. But during the weekday, over there, it means you interrupt the Torah reading. Why is it necessary to interrupt by the tinies? In the morning, let them read the subject of the day, the parsha of the day, meaning the parsha Shavua. They'll do vaychal, just a mincha. Ubetanis lom le'afsokas parshas. And Rashi says, Lili Rabbi Yirmiyah Porich. He asks a question according to Rabbi Yirmiyah. He says, Lo mafsikinon. We don't interrupt, according to Rabbi Yirmiyah. Because what did Rabbi Yirmiyah say? Rabbi Yirmiyah said, L'seira av Torah suchayzer, but the parshas you kept on reading normally. So why should we interrupt the parsha? Why don't we just continue in the morning with the regular parsha? And then in the evening, tiny is keeping the kriya, the mincha. Since there's a kriya mincha, loma yafsiku b'shachris. Why should they interrupt the shachris? Why don't they read the shachris, the parsha Shavua? So I guess they do want to read on shachris, even if it's not a Monday or a Thursday. They still want to read on a tainis, but there's no reason to read the parsha of Veichal. They couldn't read the parsha of Shavua. And the Gemara says, Misayil el Rav Huna. This would be then a support for Rav Huna. The Omer Rav Huna, Mitzafra Kinufya. He says that from the morning, there is the gathering, which means the Sarfa Kinufa Bnei Odom Beit Kim Hadim Yesh Ma'averis. If they have Averis Yechdulu K'dei Shel Kabel Atainis, people check out and make sure if they have sins, so the tainis should be accepted. So people are busy. Lefikoch Ein Pnai B'Shabbos Liknes B'Torah. We don't read at all in Shachas in the Torah. So therefore, we have to interrupt only for Mincha because we don't read in the Torah in the morning. That's what it seems like. So the Gemara says, Hey Chavdino, how do we do? In actuality, Amar Abaye, Mitzafra Lepalga the Yoma Ma'ayim B'Milsa the Mosi. From morning to half a day, we look into the matters of the city. B'Mil the Mosa, Beit Kimim Ti Aveda B'Yodom, whether there is an Aveda there. Palga the Yoma Lepanya Riva the Yoma Korom after it. But from the half a day till the evening, a quarter of the day, you read and you do the Haftorah. The Riva the Yoma Bo'arachmi. And the last quarter of the day, you ask Hashem for mercy. That's how you split up the Tanis. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, in Nehemiah Tes, Vayikru b'Sefer Torah Hashem Lekim Revis Hayoim. They read from the Torah quarter of the day. Revis Misvad Mishtachvim, and the second quarter, that's the last quarter of the day, they confessed and they bowed. Maybe it turned around. Maybe this was both in the morning. Why don't we split the two quarters in the morning? The Gemara says, don't enter your mind. So over there, you see that he was sitting till the evening. It was all taking place in the evening. He stood up in the Tainus, and there, the Sefer, the Kro, the Efres of Karpa Hashem, Almo, the Panya Bo Yerachme, Bani Kori Tarvayu, the Sefer Es. I know this is not very clear. I did the best I can under the circumstances, but we're starting a new Mishnah, and hopefully it'll get easier. We have another page and a half to finish the Talmud. I hope you got something out of it. Top of it, I can't hear you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have no idea how much people are getting out of it or not, because, without guessing, I don't even see an expression of any faces, so I have no idea. But I hope you learned something.